Okay, welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. And I know there's two things that are really kind of hot on the burner. And one of them, obviously, is the Supreme Court nomination process. Your take.
Yeah, Amy Coney Bennett has held up very well in the hearings. Quite frankly, I think the Democrats are phoning this one in. They know they don't have the votes to keep her off the bench, and they're just campaigning, basically.
I think you're actually correct. I think they are kind of phoning it in, but I think they're doing a resistance light because I think they believe that the last situation backfired on them, the Kavanaugh hearing, and I think they don't want that to happen again. That's just my view.
And I think you're right. They know that going after the Supreme Court nominees in the past has reflected very poorly on them. They know they don't have the votes to oppose her, so it's going through. And I think some of the questioning was very interesting because I think it showed that the Democrats in the Senate expect Joe Biden to lose.
Why do you say that?
Because of the questioning they had about if the election is contested. They wanted to see if Biden pushes this into a contested election, was it automatically going to be wiped out by the Supreme Court? They were testing the waters, and they've done some campaigning during the questioning. I think they're basically looking at things going, this is not going to go our way.
Okay, because you know how much I respect you, Dr. Lopkin. It's not you versus me at all.
Oh, no.
I have some very strong Trump friends. I have some anti-Trump friends. And we basically were discussing that it's over for Trump.
Just a hunch. Your Trump friends are in the Northeast.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. In the Northeast, Trump is not going to win. I don't know that he's going to take any of the states in the Northeast. My wife, on the other hand, has just come back from a road trip where she went through the South. And Biden doesn't stand a chance in the South.
Yeah, but no Democrat does really. Alabama,
Take a look at past elections. Democrats who have won the White House have won at least a portion of the South.
Okay.
Once you leave the Northeast, once you leave California and the West Coast, take a look at the rallies. Trump is lining up thousands of people at these rallies. Biden is barely hitting dozens.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't argue with the fact that there's no enthusiasm for Biden. No, he's just a placeholder to get rid of. It could be a garbage can. It doesn't make a difference. It's just to get rid of Trump. That's all it is. There's
no enthusiasm, even within the Democrats.
No, that I 100% agree with. But there's anti-enthusiasm for getting rid of Trump. I guess I'll use that spin. And it's really kind of interesting because you were talking about some prognostications, but some of my friends that are, let's say, anti-Trump, pro-Biden, they just want to get rid of Trump. Watching CNN, it's a foregone conclusion. It's over. I mean, it's the biggest landslide in Biden's favor ever.
Remember, CNN, first of all, in 2016, it was called the Clinton News Network.
Oh, yeah, no question, yeah.
We're not talking about unbiased research with CNN.
No, I don't argue, but they do have experts on who say that it's just, 2016 was an aberration and this is just brutal.
And they're saying that primarily, I think, because they were wrong in 2016 and they refused to accept that the polling was wrong because Trump supporters don't trust the polling companies.
No,
They
that I do
don't
agree with.
trust the media. So they don't answer these questions.
Okay, but the deficit is
And
more than it was before. There was 2 or 3 points, and now it's 6 points in like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, all the states he has to win.
and again, in 2016, he was losing these states to Clinton, and he
By
didn't
that
lose
much?
them. Oh, yes.
Okay, and now you're talking about some prognostications that are of noteworthiness.
Yes. Helmut Norpoff, who is a professor at University of Stony Brook, his model has correctly predicted 25 of the last 27 presidential elections. He has shown incredible accuracy with this statistical model. And he actually has Trump beating Biden by more than Trump beat Clinton.
Interesting.
And I find that very interesting. And a lot of it has to do with Biden's performance in the primaries, not to mention his performance in previous elections. Trump has his base is riled up. Biden doesn't have that. And Biden has actually lost people over the last few weeks because he keeps going out, because Trump has been calling him a socialist. He's been going out campaigning that he beat the socialist. He's not a socialist. So he's losing a lot of Bernie supporters.
Which he needs. And you thought, you said before we actually were doing this, that you thought that this last week was a really bad week for Biden. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, now that Trump is back on the campaign trail, he's actually gaining momentum. Biden has been stagnant. And if you take a look at how many people are going to these campaign events, you've got thousands of people turning out for Trump. You've got tens of people showing up for Biden. And I can't give names because, how people vote is a private matter. But I was told that a former high-ranking official in the Florida Democratic State Committee, who has been a lifelong Democrat, turned in the ballot, voted Democrat down the line, except for Biden. Even the Democratic officials are worried about Biden winning. And Nancy Pelosi made a lot of noise about how they can remove a president that's considered not up to the task. There's a lot of speculation within the party that it's not Trump she's worried about removing, it's Biden. Because they know Biden has dementia.
What's that?
The Democrats know that Biden has dementia.
And there's no question about it. Everyone knows.
And they are already considering, if Biden wins, can they remove him and put Harris in as president?
Which Harris is very unappealing. I have to ask you, Dr. Lopkin, I still say it was a mistake for Trump to bow out of the debate.
I think it was a mistake.
Yes,
I don't think it's going to hurt him as much as I originally thought, because Biden and Trump are going to have competing town hall events. We know that Trump does better at these than Biden does. Of course, Biden's going to get softball questions.
Oh, yeah, he's
going to
be handpicked. It's going to be a joke.
And he'll have a teleprompter there with the answers.
Isn't that a really scary state of affairs that you have someone that everyone knows, unless you're just drinking the Kool-Aid, is senile, has dementia?
It really is frightening that they're backing him, that they backed him all the way. But if you pay attention to what all the Democrats are saying, there has not been a single issue. The only platform that they're campaigning on is we have to get rid of Trump.
Yes, that's true. I would agree.
And I know a lot of Democrats who are now that they actually have to cast their ballot, they're looking at what Trump has done and gone, you know what? He's actually done a good job, and we are terrified of what's going to happen with Biden-Harris.
Well, let's do our own version of the prognostication. It's Dr. Lopkin, which it's self-serving for me, but I'm interested. I think last week or 2 weeks ago, you gave it 50-50. What do you do now?
I've had them at 50-50, too close to call. Right now, it's still very close, but now that Trump is back on the campaign trail and he does seem to be building momentum, I've got it at 51-49. So it's still really close, but Biden has lost the momentum that he had going into it.
Thank you, Dr. Lopkin. Thank our listeners, and we'll be back on Friday with a live broadcast of Carnivore Radio.
And you can join us there, be part of the conversation at blogtalkradio.com/Carnivore Radio. We'll see you then.
You've been listening to Carnivore Bites, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can catch us every week on carnivoreradio.com, exvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast Store, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.